Andrew Luck's 53rd career regular season game. Emmanuel Ortega gets a huge shout out on that. In addition, the comeback kings, Frank Reich, former quarterback of the Buffalo Bills against the Houston Oilers, and Andrew Luck, comeback king, came back against the Kansas City Chiefs. They have one of the guys who are going to take the torch from Tom Brady this year, in the year of the comeback and the year of Saints Colts in the Super Bowl. Payback. Now here is why the Indianapolis Colts got shut out against the Jacksonville Jaguars. In fact, this was the first time that Andrew Luck got shut out in 82 career games. Now right here, this is a sign that this is going to be Andrew Luck's last loss for this NFL season. It was his 33rd career regular season loss, and there are 33 prior days to February the 3rd, Super Bowl 53. In addition, he threw 33 passes. This game, there was the question of, did he get out of bounds? Should the clock have stopped? In other words, should Andrew Luck have thrown a 53rd pass this game? That 53rd pass is instead going to come against the Houston Texans. Also, Houston was the same place that featured the team that blew the biggest comeback in NFL history, done by Frank Reich. Andrew Luck's comeback begins against the Houston Texans. Now, why is 82 significant? Well, for starters, it is Andrew Luck's Super Bowl that equals 82. His Super Bowl would come against the Saints. Now, what this is saying is that this may not necessarily be Andrew Luck's only Super Bowl. It just means that this is going to be his Super Bowl that he is going to win. I think that is the interpretation of this right here. Now, what's also interesting is that the 82 games in his career, the first time that he gets shut out, his last loss before facing the Saints in the Super Bowl, is that 13 is a big number associated with luck, and I've noticed that this was the Colts' 13th loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? All the talk of bad luck through the season, right? They stopped the Eagles on 4th down. A penalty allows the Eagles to win in Wentz's return. The Colts are driving down to beat the Bengals, but Doyle fumbles. He returns, 92 yards for the touchdown. And we even have, 7 starters out for the Colts against the New England Patriots. So truly, what you're seeing here is good and bad luck here, and this is why the Colts lost their 13th game against the Jaguars in this fashion, 6-0. Also, the Super Bowl is going to be played on a date of 2-3. They remain at 23 wins against the Jacksonville Jaguars, their last loss of the season. This is very interesting to know. Now, as I've said before, the Colts and the Saints, they played each other on October the 25th of 2015. This was also Andrew Luck's 53rd career regular season game. In his career statistics, notice that he played in 48 regular season games all the way up to the 2014 season. So that's 48 from 2012 to 2014. But notice in 2015 when he faced off against the Saints, that was his 53rd career game. 49, 50, 51, 52. His 53rd career regular season game occurred against the New Orleans Saints. Now, what's interesting about Andrew Luck's 53rd career regular season games against the Saints is that, number one, this is going to be the matchup of Super Bowl 53. There's a total of 23 passing attempts. February the 3rd is 2-3, the date of the Super Bowl. And he threw a total of 44 passes. Now, the Colts and the Saints, they played in Super Bowl 44. Which brings me to Andrew Luck's dad, Oliver Luck. He was born on April the 5th of 1960, And I want you to notice that he was drafted 44th overall in the draft. And it's his son that is going to beat the Saints in this rematch of Super Bowl 44. Now, why is 44 also significant for Oliver Luck and Andrew Luck? Is that the Super Bowl is going to be played at Georgia. It is Georgia that equals 44. Georgia is going to feature the rematch of Super Bowl 44. As I've said before, the Indianapolis area code is 317. There's 317 days from Peyton Manning's birthday to the day of the Super Bowl. Now notice here that he was drafted 44th overall in the 1982 NFL Draft. Once again, Andrew Luck's Super Bowl and Saints all equal 82 in Gematria. This is not a coincidence. People, I promise you this, okay? This is all coded through the Kabbalah and through the people that rig the NFL. Believe me on that. Now, what is the time span, you may ask, between February the 3rd of 2019 to Oliver Luck's birthday of April the 5th of 2019, which would be his 59th birthday? Now, it's interesting that he's going to turn 59 next year, Oliver Luck, because it is Atlanta, Georgia that equals 59 in Gematria. Michael Pence, born in 1959, 2020, 59th quadrennial election, stock market crash in 2019. I'm going to correctly predict this in Gematria equals 59 as well. Yes, the Colts won the Super Bowl 41 right as the financial crash occurred right after in 2007, in 2008. Also lines up with the Chinese zodiac. Now, let me go back to Andrew Luck's 53rd regular season game against the Saints. Now, what is the time span of this game to Drew Brees' January the 15th birthday? Or rather, the time duration from that game to the day of the Super Bowl. We're talking about October the 25th. Interesting that the time span from Colts-Saints 3 years ago to February the 3rd is a time span of 101 days if you do not include the end day. 101 is significant because it connects to the last team that won the Super Bowl. Philadelphia equals 101. Now, I want you to notice that if you include the end day, this turns into 102. This connects to the matchup in the coaching matchup. Frank Reich versus Sean Payton. The Saints lost the Super Bowl and the Colts won the Super Bowl, all equal 102 in Gematria. This connects to Andrew Luck's 53rd regular season game. Once again, this cannot be a coincidence. What is going on here, my man? What is going on here? Andrew Luck and Drew Brees both throw 44 passes this game. Right, this is a joke, right? It is just... It is a joke, man. It really is. These games are coded by the numbers. 48 points between the two teams. 48 prior Super Bowls in the modern era. Which brings us to Joe Namath, Broadway Joe, beating the Colts in the year of Super Bowl 53 at Atlanta. The Colts started 1-5, right? It's Atlanta. It's Colts that equals 15. Now the Colts were 1-5 after this game against the New York Jets. 34 points were scored in this game. It is February the 3rd, that's the 34th day of the year. Joe Namath was honored that day. Broadway Joe, Super Bowl upset. We're going to see an upset with Andrew Luck here. His last loss to the New York Jets, who were 3-3 after this game. I've documented before that is Andrew Luck. That is going to be the 33rd quarterback to win the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl 53 in abbreviation Gematria that equals 33. Now, let me go to the wild card game with Frank Reich. Interesting that in this game, Frank Reich, the Bills quarterback, he threw 34 passes. He threw 34 passes in this game. To me, this lines up with February the 3rd of 2019 being the 34th day of the year. And let's see here with Buffalo. 26 rushes, and I want you to notice that this game was played on January the 3rd. The one thing that I take away from January the 3rd is that Eli Manning's birthday is on January the 3rd, and he led to the biggest upset runs in the history of the NFL. And the year that he beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl rematch, that Super Bowl was held at Indianapolis. So there is some kind of tribute going on here. Also, this was the Bills' 12th victory. And Andrew Luck, the comeback king, number 12, leads a 28-point comeback against the Kansas City Chiefs. And it is the Kansas City Chiefs that were the last team to make the playoffs after starting 1-5. I've documented that before as well. So very interesting here in this wild card game. And Andrew Luck being the 33rd quarterback to win the Super Bowl. Well, if Frank Reich and the Oilers come back from 32 down, then the 33rd points of the game ended up allowing Buffalo to retake the lead. So that 33 connects with 33 prior, the 33rd Super Bowl winner, let me say that, Andrew Luck, the 33rd quarterback to win the Super Bowl. So yes, these games are really big tributes. Also, what's interesting is that there are 61 days from February the 3rd to Oliver Luck's birthday of April the 5th. Now, what's interesting about that is that Andrew Luck can be the 61st quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. Andrew Austin Luck equals 61. There are 61 days from Frank Reich's December the 4th birthday to the day of the Super Bowl. No coincidence that there are 61 days from February the 3rd to Andrew Luck's dad's birthday. Oliver Luck, his 59th birthday after this particular Super Bowl. Yes, this holds a lot of significance. What you're seeing here is no coincidences. Now, the Colts did start 1-5 against the Jets October the 14th. The amount of time from October the 14th to the day of the comeback from Frank Reich in the Buffalo Bills, time span of 82 days. Also, the first game since the 1-5 start occurred against the Buffalo Bills. Very interesting. And once again, it is Saints. It is Andrew Luck's Super Bowl that equals 82 in Gematria. This is going to be a big tribute. This comeback from Frank Reich in the Buffalo Bills, 32-point comeback. And we have Andrew Luck's 28-point comeback against the Kansas City Chiefs. I want you to notice that 32 and 28 both add up to 60. It is Indianapolis that equals 60. It is Super Bowl 53 in Gematria that equals 60 and 33. I think it is Darius Leonard, number 53. Leonard, Defensive Player of the Year. Leonard equals 33 and 69. Number 53, right? This cannot be coincidental, people. I promise you this, okay? I promise you that. So we have that. Now, so these were the nominal comebacks. 32-point comeback and 28-point comeback. It takes 28 points to tie the game. The 29th points for Andrew Luck sealed the comeback. The 33rd points for Frank Reich sealed the comeback. I want you to notice that these numbers add up to 62. This is lining up with Georgia equaling 62. This is the year of the comeback in Super Bowl 53, people, because it is comeback that equals 53 in Gematria. Also, it is Luck upsets Brady that equals 53. This is for you to see, very clearly that this is the year of the comeback in Super Bowl 53. Also, the passing of the torch, and Andrew Luck and Patrick Mahomes both have more touchdown passes than Andrew Luck this season. This should be a clue that what you're seeing here is the correct storyline for this NFL season. They were up 35-3. This is the Indianapolis Colts' 35th season in Indiana. I mean, all the clues are there, people. I don't know what to tell you, okay? Atlanta equals 15 in Gematria. Drew Brees, 15th. He was born on the 15th day, Drew Brees. Okay? This stuff cannot be coincidental. I promise you that. me see right here. That is 15th day and all. I can move on with this. 6'2", like Georgia equaling 62. I know. Okay, no, that cannot be coincidental, people. I promise you that. Oliver Luck drafted by the Houston Oilers, and Frank Reich leads the biggest comeback against the Houston Oilers. Come on! This comeback begins versus the Houston Texans, right? This is the riddle here, people. This cannot be any more obvious. I mean, 26 completions, it's comeback that equals 26 in Gematria. Come on, man. This stuff it's not all meant to be coincidental now. Okay, the first game after the 1-5 start occurs against Buffalo, and the first game of the 2015 season occurs against Buffalo. And I think it was Indianapolis Colts that played in the... Okay, that was not... The Colts did not play in the 2016 AFC Championship game. I think that had to be somebody else. Yeah, they must have missed the playoffs that season. And once again, the amount of time from Andrew Luck's birthday to Drew Brees' birthday is a time span of 4 months and 4 days. Again, this has to be a connection to Peyton Manning's number 18, and the fact that 4 months and 4 days, this is lining up with Super Bowl 44, and of course, Georgia equaling 44 in Gematria. Now, prior matchups between the Colts and the Saints. After 2006, the season opener was on September the 6th of 2007. The season opener after the Colts Super Bowl title occurred on the 6th day of September. The NFL season this season began on September the 6th. 41 points for the Colts after winning Super Bowl 41. Also, it is Super Bowl that equals 41 in Gematria. Now, on to game number 2 in 2011. The Saints scored 62 points this game. Once again, it is Georgia that equals 62. 69 total points in this game. It is Atlanta that equals 69 in Gematria. It is Colts that equals 69 in Gematria. This was a rigged game. Now, here is why Drew Brees played against the Colts in the first place. Is that I want you to notice that the Saints have this shade of tan on their logo, and I want you to notice that Purdue has that same tannish color. Now, Purdue was where Drew Brees played college football for, and Purdue is based in West Lafayette, Indiana. It is Colts that are from Indiana. This is a big reason why Drew Brees faced off against the Colts in the first place. Also, it is Peyton Manning. His dad, Archie Manning, played for New Orleans. He faced off against New Orleans in the Super Bowl. And I want you to notice that Drew Brees' 40th birthday is going to occur on January the 15th of 2019. Now, what's significant about his 40th birthday is that he's going to face Andrew Luck on February the 3rd, shortly after his 40th birthday. Now, I want to go back to Andrew Luck's game log, his game log, because I think, if I recall, that Saints game was his 57th overall game, because if I recall, Andrew Luck lost to the Ravens, he beat the Bengals and may have lost to the Patriots, and he must have played one game in the 2014-2015 playoffs. That Saints-Colts game back in 2015 may have been Andrew Luck's 57th overall game. It is 57 that equals the championship number of 131. It is Super Bowl that also equals 131, and once again, it is Atlanta, Georgia that does equal 131. So, last thing here is to go to Andrew Luck's game log. Andrew Luck's game log. So here, let me see if he. Let me count off all of his postseason games. He had 3 I know, so this is... Now, I cannot count that, obvious... Okay. Okay, this may have been... Okay. This is 1, 2, 3, so that is 56. That is 56. And then we have 58. And we have one playoff game in 2012. So Saints, Colts was, in fact, Andrew Luck's 59th career game, in addition to being his 53rd career regular season game. So here is 18, and then there is 35 from the prior season, and then we have 51 and 54, and then his 5th game in 2015 was his 59th career game against the New Orleans Saints. His 59th overall game has a lot to do with Super Bowl 53 being at Atlanta, Georgia. So shout out to Emmanuel Ortega. Prior matchups between the Saints and the Colts, season opener September the 6th, 2007, right after the Colts won the Super Bowl. Oliver Luck and his connections, the comebacks for Andrew Luck and Frank Reich. Lots of connections made in this video. Saints losing to the Colts in the Super Bowl in the year of the comeback.